I have never felt confident as a science learner. While I did take a lot of advanced placement science classes, it was never my strongest subject. It was very daunting to me having to face the reality of having to have deep understanding of science content to be a science educator in an elementary school setting. However, through science education classes like this one and real life experiences teaching science in a classroom, I have been able to define who I want to become as a science teacher, and I have shaped what I think about science instruction. My science instruction will be very hands on. By avoiding the use of science worksheets and incorporating hands on activities, I will keep my students engaged. Completing worksheets does not demonstrate student mastery. I saw this method of hands on activity in my PIP classroom during science instruction, and it was very beneficial. I taught a lesson about the distribution of water on Earth. It was called Where is the Water? We were looking at how much of the Earth is made up of salt water and how little is made up of consumable water. Before they began the experience, the students analyzed data and tables. They were excited to do so because they wanted to learn more about what they were going to do when they began their hands-on experiment, and they wanted to understand the content. The second part of the lesson was a hands-on experiment where students separated 1,000 milliliters of water into different beakers to represent the water on Earth. 970 milliliters of that water was poured into one beaker to show the amount of ocean water. A tiny pipette was taken to demonstrate the consumable water for humans. The students were very excited to do this on their own and thought the visual was very helpful. The last section of this lesson was just discussion. They all took part in the discussion. I encouraged them to ask and answer questions if any of their classmates had anything they needed answered. As a science educator, it is fundamental for me to encourage my students to ask questions and to participate in discussion with their teacher and peers. To do so, you must create a safe environment where they feel comfortable enough. Students who ask questions show deeper understanding of the content. Discussion also allows students to gain the perspectives of other students and their teachers. School should be about taking in different points of view so students can formulate their own opinions and they can learn new things. Furthermore, I think student-led discussion leads to exploration and discovery. It is not very effective if we just hand students answers. They must find things out on their own and become critical thinkers. In my classroom, I fully intend on integrating strategies and tools from resources such as the National Science Teacher Association. By being a lifelong learner, I will learn new ways to make science instruction more hands-on and engaging through articles and lessons written by other teachers. Other tools I will be implementing in my own classroom are the use of interactive science notebooks. The Wonder Journals are something that take up a small amount of time in the day where students are still making observations about the world around them and engaging in science. I also intend on incorporating science journals into my use of the 5E instructional sequence. With that being said, I fully intend on using the 5E instructional sequence regularly in my classroom. Without it, science is dull and may not reach all students. I have been able to work with the 5E instructional sequence very closely and analyze the benefits that I truly admire. For example, it scaffolds learning and promotes the development of discovery and new knowledge. Each phase provides the students with something new and allows them to encounter information in a way that is more effective than any other lesson format I have ever seen. Furthermore, I believe that it promotes equal opportunities for growth and learning among all students. Equity is a concept that I believe needs to be addressed, and by providing chances for differentiation that will cater to all of my students, the 5E model bridges this gap. Finally, I will incorporate content and phenomenon that relates to the lives of my students and the world around them, so that the class can be more engaged and able to retain information. Having experienced this firsthand, I truly understand how little students care about learning when there is no connection to themselves in the classroom. Students are more interested in science and more likely to retain information when it is related to their lives and the world around them. Cultural relevant Pedagogy allows students to relate what they learn in school to what happens to them. Students need a connection between school and their lives, along with past learning experiences.